I stand before you today as an officer of the Constitution, as Speaker of the House of Representatives. I stand before you as a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a daughter. I stand before you as a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a daughter.
Uh-oh, it looks like Nancy Pelosi has forgotten the fact that her own party in the House of Representatives banned gendered terms under new House rules, such as father, mother, son, daughter, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, first cousin, nephew, niece, husband, wife, father-in-law. I could go on and on and on. You can't speak about gendered terms. You can't possibly imply that sex exists or that there's such a thing as gender, because of course that would be accepting biological truth and fact. It's really dangerous, this stuff. It's really, really dangerous. Tulsi Gabbard put it best, I think.
And it's the height of hypocrisy for people who claim to be the champions of rights for women to deny the very biological existence of women. And this recent rule change that the House just actually voted and passed on today that you were talking about, removing references to, mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters from congressional rules and administration, it's mind-blowing because it shows just how out of touch with reality and the struggles of everyday Americans people in Congress are, but also it shows that, their first act as this new Congress could have been to make sure that elderly Americans are able to get the COVID vaccine now alongside frontline healthcare workers, elderly Americans who have the highest mortality rates from this virus. But instead of doing something that could actually help save people's lives, they're choosing instead to say, well, you can't say mother or father in any of this congressional language. It's astounding.
And I completely agree with it. I think it's deeply irresponsible for the Democratic Party to pander to this stuff. But you know what? This also gives me an element of hope, because it does suggest to me that the Democrats are just going to push things as far as they possibly can. They're going to push things to the extremes. They're going to push things so that any objective, ordinary person who goes out and works a 9 to 5 will be watching this slew of shit, frankly, that they have to watch on the television that the Democratic Party put forward. And they'll think, hang on a minute, it surely naturally follows that if you deny the fact that women exist by denying that sex exists, you deny women access to single-sex spaces. You deny women access to even changing rooms and things like that. If sex doesn't exist, the term woman becomes meaningless. You lose all of these things. Same-sex attraction doesn't exist either. You lose the fact gay people won't exist. You get rid of these things, it becomes meaningless. And they're starting to try and sort of chip away at society, the words that we all utilize, the words that encompass the whole of society, to mean nothing, to render them all completely useless. And I think it's becoming a bit of a trope actually to reference Orwell on both left and right, I think, but it is Orwellian. It's the re-engineering of the words that are the foundation of Western society. And it's terrifying stuff. But as I say, that gives me a sense of optimism, because it strikes me that the Democrats are just going to push things far too far. And maybe even we'll see America's going to have to go through some horrible stuff with this a Democratic Party that wants to pander to the hard left and sort of Marxist elements of its party that are no longer few and far between. But this will push the electorate. And I think the more we expose this stuff, the better, because it has really serious repercussions. I know you might think, well, who cares? It's just Nancy Pelosi. But she herself is evidence of the fact that these are things that we've built up over such a long period of time. They can't quickly be erased. Or rather, they can. That's the problem, actually. They can quickly be erased. It's much harder to build up civic society. It's much harder to build up the words we have at our disposal, the tools that we use, the language we communicate with, to try and alter all of that for some cultural Marxist revolutionaries. It's terrifying stuff. But they're going to push it too far, and that's the only saving grace, I think, of this whole sorry saga. Reasoned relies upon grassroots donations from people like yourself that want us to continue producing our high quality, free thinking content. So please do consider clicking the link and donating, no matter how big, no matter how small, because it really does ensure that we can keep on keeping on.